Hello everyone and welcome back once again to Cauldrons of War Stalingrad with another bonus episode brought to you by my Patreon supporter, Pumnarau. With that said, let's continue. I'm quite confident that these guys can blitz their way through. Suburbs of Stalingrad have been reached. Taking a siege should be a matter of days. And I wonder what makes it so that whatever unit's going there and what unit is going here. Certainly seems very weird, but I'll refit. And I have 4th Panzer in here, so I need to switch that. Twelfth Army refit. I actually want to get you to the calming step. And they cannot get to the front now. I mean, they're exhausted, but there's nothing I can do with that. Then also let's airlift them. They have some Cossacks, huh? Killing the sailors is one thing, killing these is another. How many trucks do I have in Crimea? 55. Let's do it anyway. In the north, let's get the 30th out. How many planes do I have in the north? 6. Then here they smash into the 8th. I mean, shelling is nice, but I would like to have supplies for them too. So, momentarily, I don't think that is going to be the correct attitude. Should Stalingrad be taken? At the OK, many people think that since the city of Stalingrad is within range of our guns, the main objective is done. The traffic on the Volga is already considered to be cut, and it's enough to reduce the city to smoking rubble. General Paulus intends to move into a defensive position and prepare his army for winter. Unfortunately, Hitler does not seem to be of this opinion. The city must be taken. A few kilometers of urban areas spread out along the Volga won't stop the Wehrmacht. After the city has fallen, the Wehrmacht would go south along the Volga to take Astrakhan's plan for Operation Fischreier. Let's take it just because we can. Complete encirclement of a city is difficult to envision because the Volga represents a real obstacle over which it will be difficult to build bridges, and especially to make them last when the winter ice drifts will appear. An assault on the city cannot be avoided. Urban fighting doesn't make the troops nor the generals happy, but the affair shouldn't take more than a few days. Bridge over the Don. The supply of units fighting on the Don-Volga isthmus is problematic. The upgrading of the railways of German railway tracks now makes it possible to bring trains to the Cheer station west of the Don. The supplies must then be loaded onto trucks and carts and led to the Don, which is crossed by a bridge of boats. The 50 and 150 remaining kilometers to the supply stores on the front have to be covered in the steppe, often done by horse-drawn carts. The upgrading of a section of railway east of the Don could only be useful if a railway bridge were built over the river. The construction of such a structure would require at least 70 trains of material. Is it really necessary to embark on such a costly project when Stalingrad will probably be taken before the end of this work? Build the bridge. The enemy understood the danger that our advance towards Stalingrad would pose to its logistics by cutting off traffic along the Volga. Repeated clumsy but determined offensives are launched north of the Don-Volga corridor. The enemy is short of reserves and throws them into battle as soon as they arrive. These attacks indicate the restlessness of an adversary on the verge of collapse. The violence of the fighting drove the OKW to allocate new resources for the summer campaign, but with the struggles raining down our troops both in the center and in the south, it is impossible to satisfy everyone. Send them to the south. You may have noticed that reinforcements are available in Army Group B or Army Group South. These Romanian and Italian units will allow you to protect the flanks of your troops advancing towards Stalingrad. I know you have few command points to spare and that it seems more interesting to prioritize the progression towards the east than the consolidation of your flanks. It was exactly the trade-off made by the German High Command that led to the Stalingrad disaster. Bringing in reinforcements on the banks of the Don, supplying them correctly, and building defensive positions can only be done to the detriment of your progress. It's up to you to decide between speed and caution. Jeez. Red Man folks, not all of the peoples of the Caucasus are waiting for us as liberators. Partisans from Kuban, Ossetia, Chechnya, and Ingushetia are actively helping the Red Army. When they don't cut our lines of communication, they're supplying the Red Army or harassing our troops. An impressive number of our vehicles were sabotaged or destroyed, and our officers are falling victims of snipers one after another. The Army's intelligence believes that these movements are not spontaneous. They were raised, trained, and equipped by the Soviets. Our troops are starting to hate the Caucasus. Partisans appear on the battlefield in the Caucasus. Units engaged in the Caucasus each lose one truck. Units engaged in the Caucasus lose one cohesion point. Directive 46, Bandenbekämpfung. Since July, Himmler has been in charge of the fight against the partisans in the rear areas which are not directly under military authority. Under his leadership, the SS has further hardened its action. The term partisans is banned, replaced with bandit, and operations are now entrusted to experienced killers. Hitler, in full agreement with these methods, has just formalized them into a directive. He calls for recourse to the most extreme brutality in order to completely exterminate the bands of bandits. The populations of the areas where the bandits operate must be considered as enemy fighters, no longer as civilians. These areas should be turned into dead zones, Todzonen. While some officers may have qualms, others, like Model, approve these orders wholeheartedly. Reluctant soldiers will no doubt be reassured by the immunity this directive gives them for acts committed in the fight against bandits. And the partisan units more effective, barbarity +5, actions against partisan increase the barbarity score even faster. It was obvious to me that the game about World War II could not ignore the horrors of that war. Of course, I know full well that the eruption of such questions can make some players uncomfortable. Is it more in-game designer gamifying war crimes? Here are the guidelines to try to follow. 1. War crimes should not be ignored. 2. I will not omit moral judgments, just the facts in the bare brutality. 3. When there is subjectivity, I try to present the facts in the way of contemporary might have felt them, including when numbers are given. 4. Barbarity score will only increase over time, never decrease, and the player can only hope to slow down its progress after as much as possible. I want to make that clear. Okay. Cossacks to the front. Air bombardment. They lost 2 planes. I lost a truck. They also have 3 new units. The 12th Army will then stretch lines of post flanks and stragglers. Jeez, what the fuck? Okay. Wow. Okay. Not particularly used at taking losses. Now they have no more freaking planes. Why would you give everything though? That makes no sense. Just because I launched Fischreier doesn't mean that they would give every single little fucking plane possible. I mean, that kills a few units, cost me 3 points. Well, need to send troops to the flank too. I mean, killing the militia is okay, but not necessarily very most helpful. Not particularly useful, that. Oh, crap. I mean, killing that rifle corps was interesting. They're caught up now. 23 trucks. which I have 54, but I'm gonna lose some, obviously. Guess I can give them some ammunition. Whereas here, they already are entrenched, but they still have stretched lines. That's kind of weird. Let's send these as a... Can only send them as a realtor and go north, eh? It's weird. Man, that's fucking garbage. It appears that the Soviets have gone on the offensive in the Leningrad region. Their objective is crystal clear: to clear the Leningrad area of German troops once and for all. The matter is serious enough that air reinforcements have been urgently assigned to the Leningrad area. We must hold on. They shall not pass. I got a bunch of stuff. NKVD. They put another NKVD unit there. Here too, these NKVD units, that is pretty frustrating. Ammunition supply. They send a unit to Stalingrad. What did that say? Decombre. Which is French. At least they lost some stuff against the Italian corps. Jesus fucking Christ. Again, like, holy shit. The heck, man. It's disputed. Can I send them? Why can I not send them to Stalingrad? Like... What? Alright, so at least doing that means that I can kill 2 units in Stalingrad at one point. With first guards, I cannot just leave that 1 Italian unit there. I basically have... This is the Serafimovich bridgehead, so I need to send... you there, and you to Stalingrad. That's probably a good outcome for now. Strategic suppression. Let's see what happens. Grupa Espec is getting it pretty rough. I'll put 9th in there. Now, I don't think Mutton Clod is going to have such a great time against those guys. I can try some shelling. It was absolute garbage, as predicted. But I like wasting points. So there we go. And that was also useless. Great. Well, I have nothing here, so basically I'm at a point where I can just straight up do nothing in entire Army Group A. So, you know, that's actually not, like, this situation is really not good, because these points are absolutely wasted now. So, in a way, you really don't want to get in that situation. It's very clearly that, like, this game works like a puzzle. You basically have to do a lot of things. You basically have to know certain things in advance, or have to do certain things in a specific order or a specific way in order to succeed in this game. And this is clearly not the way. So, well, I can split them up, and then shouldn't I be able to supply them a Punji wagon? No. Guess not. Thought that was the idea, but I guess I was wrong. Kind of weird. You don't really have a whole lot of artillery, so you're not shelling. Second has a reasonable amount. Just like the 28th. No use. No use. That 11th Army has been taking a lot of hits there. Bridge is finished. A miracle of German engineering. A railway bridge now spans the Don, and a railroad track set to the right gauge makes it possible to bring supplies directly to the warehouse close to the front. The operation carried out in Don Volga Isthmus towards the SK in the north-south direction, and Stalingrad gained 1 local supply point capacity. Gain 1 cohesion, lose 2 tiredness. Furious obsession with each passing day. The furious obsession with Stalingrad increases. Proof of this fixation, the propaganda has already announced on several occasions a total victory on the Volga. The Soviet resistance, the massive bloodshed, as well as the symbolic significance of the city named after Stalin, ended up making Stalingrad the most important objective of the campaign, and the Baku oil fields take a backseat. Stalingrad is now worth 2 more points. If the city is not taken, you lose the victory points. Victory goes to Group B. Access accretion -5. Must take that city. Red factories. Our troops have left behind the Stalingrad outskirts and their poor dwellings to enter a whole different universe. A series of giant industrial buildings block the horizon: the tractor factory, a cement factory, the Barakati factory, the industrial bakery, the Red October factory, the Lazar chemical factory, and finally the refining facilities. There are many concrete and steel fortresses infested with fanaticized communists that will be necessary to take down one by one. In each of these factories, each block and workshop has been fortified or trapped, and in each workshop, each room itself is a citadel to be taken. Paths have been walled up by the defenders, others have been dug, and the bombardments have created a chaotic environment where the human eye has trouble finding its way. In such an environment, snipers reign supreme. Stalingrad gains the fortification trait. 2 pollution points. The area is not that large. Snipers. On the ground, losses caused by Soviet snipers are escalating. It seems that there is a real craze for this type of combat on the Soviet side, where their propaganda goes all out to glorify the heroic snipers. The growing German losses are undoubtedly to be put into perspective, but the evil lies elsewhere. Our troops no longer feel safe anywhere. The persistent feeling of being always in the sights of a sniper gradually undermines the morale for men. Cohesion of units is Stalingrad -1, fatigue of units is Stalingrad +2. Oh, there we go again. Novorossiysk, nothing. Nothing. All these in, they also have the 58th Army now. Eesh. Not really a whole lot. Okay. Retreat. There is one more unit now. They still have the 37th Army in reserve. What happened here? They killed their militia. Good. First Guards lost an artillery and some strength. And they're doing a lot of attacks. 9th Tank Corps, 33rd, 60th Army is also encircled now and is dead. I do think it means I will have to put these guys back up and 9th Army back again. I cannot imagine that to be going well. Not at all. At least they don't have that many reserves beside all of that. Boom, boom, boom. And 59th Army is losing some cohesion over artillery. They also have a lot of armies here, but I don't have really like a whole lot of things to shell. I guess I could have left the big guns up there, but there are no points to be gained there for now, so I might as well leave it like that indeed. At this point, wonder how quick progress is, but if I can... Ah, crap. Wonder if I can shell them. Well, let's start here in the north. It has all 3 of these. Which of these units is doing poorly? It's the 11th Army. Well, let's start with that. I cannot do that again. Not worth it to shell with them. But these guys got a little bit of a beating, so that's actually pretty decent. Definitely trying to bomb on the somewhat less less cluttered areas. I need to refit 9th Army, so kind of need to do it like that. In the Crimea, I need to refit, resend them. I'm never gonna take Novorossiysk this way, but like the big problem is just that I don't have planes in a Crimean HQ, and I cannot send anything here that can actually kill them because Army Group A is completely stripped. Everything is in Army Group B. I even have not deployed yet the 6th Army, which is kind of weird. But I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to wrap things up. I want to thank you all for watching this episode. If you did, please do consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe. Special shout out to my Patreon supporters: Booner Out, Ninja Bastard, C-Data, Swords, Man, Dingo, and Tomislav Schlin. Well, actually, let's finish this turn. It's a bit weird to not do that. I really thought that at the core level you could also send the Punji weapons or the Punji wagons, but that now, you know, it doesn't seem to be the case, and I have actually no clue why that is. Like, it's very weird, because I can do it with them, and this is a core. I can fuel supply and regular, like, I can use this. I did not want to do that, but it doesn't actually even matter. Anyway, I have no clue why I cannot do that with these. I broke up the army, so I thought according to the game I should be able to, you know, give them that, but then it doesn't. And these guys, like 18 trucks. Why though? I have no clue why I cannot do this. Yeah, it really baffles me. Anyway, I need to send them to the. This is the Bukuka bridge, yeah. On Volga corridor. And then. Oh, what? Like, this is the kind of crap that makes you not win the game on the first try. Why can I not send 4th Panzer to Stalingrad? There seems to be no definite reason as to why I just cannot do that, but now I just wasted a point putting them here, not knowing that they cannot go to Stalingrad for whatever bullshit reason. Anyway, the city has fallen in Axis hands. This symbolic and strategic victory will remain as one of the highlights in the war in the East. I mean, sure. I guess. I cannot even send them further than that. Like, what? I will see what happens to this, but for now, I suppose I'll progress. And I cannot do that with you. I'll give them fuel supplies. Victory at Stalingrad. Stalingrad has fallen. The fighting has been bitter, but the fall of this highly symbolic city has been transformed into a veritable epic by propaganda. Our allies are reassured, and Hitler holds an objective he deems sufficient to proclaim the victory of the campaign in the East for 1942. It is now time for our troops to rest and strengthen our defenses along the Don, unless the Führer, against the advice of his generals, decides to lead a final push into the Caucasus. Group B, -2 command points. Army Group North and Center, +1. Moscow focus will be 0, and Axis cohesion is 5. If I prepare this, Moscow focus will always be 0 at this stage, but Group B planes go to A if it exists. Operations to Astrakhan are attributed to Group A if it exists. Group B, -2 command points. Army Group Center and North, +1 command point. Let's pursue operations in the Caucasus. Operations in the Caucasus are not progressing as planned, and the enemy is defending fiercely. Jodl, who has taken the time to discuss with officials on the ground, understands the enormous difficulties the Wehrmacht faces due to terrain, logistics, and Soviet resistance. The Führer seems reluctant to listen to such arguments, and the spearheads of Field Marshal List, in charge of operations in the Caucasus, may well be cut off. Should Hitler listen to his generals and suspend operation in the Caucasus? What? But what does it mean here? Priority goes to Group B. Again, like, if it would just explain to me what it did. These are definitely serious frustrations that, like, if you know in advance what these things do, you can make the appropriate choice. But I've just given command back to Army Group A, and then priority goes to Group B might not necessarily mean anything. Or, like, I don't care if significant resources are transferred to Group B. What I care about is if the command points change, and I cannot see if the command point changes. I actually think this is so critical, losing points here, that I'm going to save here, and I'm gonna see what those different choices do, because it is just straight up not clear to me. Like, if this changes the command points, I will choose Hitler takes over. But if it doesn't change the command points, which I cannot see in any possible way, then I will not choose that. And I'm just gonna leave it here if I can save it, because this is, yeah. It's too important to not know what actually happens. I need to know. Like, it's not something like the game doesn't want you to know the fatigue. That's not what it means. Like, this is... It's not as if you cannot know a decision at the strategic level and know what it does when it comes to where you're putting your supplies. So I'm gonna end the video here, and I'll be back seeing what priority giving means. Thanks for watching. Take care. Special shout out to my Patreon supporters. When we're out, Digital Pastor, see Data Swords, Mending, and Thomas Lochlin. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye.